and I hope you've had a great day today. And I hope everybody can see me and hear me good. I usually check on that before I take off, but I thought I'd do it a little bit different tonight. And so looks like everybody's good on Rumble, and looks like everybody's good on locals as well. Okay, great. And I'm sure we're doing good on Q. And so that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, oh, let me tell you this. By the way, that video that I just played for you was dropped by Trump. I think it was right before he said Kash Patel is going to be the FBI director. Now, there's a lot of people in that video that he's fixing to unload on, I think, with the Obamas, Hillary, you know, the JFK thing. I don't know if you noticed that George Bush sitting there with Clinton, and then George Bush outside the Texas Depository. You know, he was there. He was part of it. I'm talking about Daddy Bush. Okay. And so, again, Trump dropped that right before he named Kash Patel FBI director. So, anyhow, I thought that was pretty interesting. And, you know, this last week, 10 days has just been a whirlwind for us. As a lot of you know, we had a new grandbaby, and my first. I don't feel like I'm old enough to be a grandpa, but I do have some grace, so maybe I am. But anyway, I'll tell you one thing: we're not giving her back, that's for sure. And you guys have been so sweet with your comments on social media. I put some pictures on Facebook and also on locals. I wasn't gonna put them on Twitter or wherever. But anyway, just been so gracious and nice, and she is a bundle of joy. And you know, it's really weird, you know. But and a lot of people have said, you know, you just don't know until you know. You just can't explain it until you become one. And so that is oh, thank you, New York born Joe. Baby looks like you, Brad. Well, that is just great. I'm not sure if it's great for the baby, but it's okay. All right. So yes, it is. It is. Okay. So yeah. Best feeling in the world. Okay, is it not on cue? Is it not on right now? Some people are saying. Okay, I'll text the guy right now. Want to say what's up? Hold on. Hold on just a second. We're live on the talk show, but everyone is saying in the chat that it's not on cue. All right. So anyway, yeah, I am happy. I am happy. It's I don't know, man. It's a weird feeling, but again, like I said, we're blessed. We're thankful she's healthy, main thing, and then and she is beautiful like her mother. And so anyway, proud of Hayden and Logan, and they're not new little family. So okay, well, let me see here. You know, here's tonight. Let me just tell you, tonight is not going to be a long show. Trying something new kind of tonight, where I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter, maybe, and see how that goes. But I've got a lot of stuff I'm looking into and looking at. I'm not ready to go with it yet, but look for some interesting things here in the coming days and weeks. But let me just say this: I thought this was pretty telling over the last couple of days. Check this out.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one 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 is above the law.
No one.
Yeah, no one's above the law, are they? Well, let me just tell you, folks. Listen, I know everybody's up in arms about this, and like people really believed him. I mean, did you really believe that Joe Biden wasn't going to try to pardon Hunter? I mean, come on, man. Don't be all. I mean, what kind of world do you live in? Okay, we all knew that was coming. Okay, so here's the thing. You got to understand this. Listen, I promise you, don't think Trump hadn't got this figured out. Don't think he hadn't. Now, just hang tight with me. All right, so I want to show you a little clip from the Liz Wheeler show here next. And I thought this was very good. Very good. You may know it. You may not know it. You need to know. Okay, listen up.
Welcome to a special live edition of the Liz Wheeler Show in honor of the fact that President Joe Biden issued a pardon of his son, Hunter Biden, yesterday. A Sunday evening news drop. Hunter Biden is off the hook, completely off the hook. And let me tell you, the reason Joe Biden pardoned his son, Hunter, was not because he believed that Hunter was the target of unfair prosecution because of Hunter's error in filling out a form when he was making a gun purchase. Joe Biden.
Nope. That's all a bunch of bullcrap.
Did not pardon Hunter Biden because Joe Biden is somehow a good, loving, and compassionate father of an addict who was delinquent on paying his taxes when he was in the throes of addiction and then paid them back and paid a penalty in paying his debt to society. No. The reason Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden is actually very evident if you read the lines within the pardon itself, which we are going to do now. This is what Joe Biden said. He said, "Today, I signed a pardon for my son, Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word, even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Without aggravating factors like use in crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out a gun form. Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions, but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties, are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It's clear that Hunter was treated differently." Biden says the charges in his cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress investigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed to by the Department of Justice unraveled in the courtroom, with a number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair, reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's case can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. And that is wrong. There's been an effort, Biden says, to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. In trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me. And there's no reason to believe it will stop here. Enough is enough, Biden says. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. There's several things wrong in that statement alone. But when you go down to the actual legalese of the pardon, it says, be it known that this day I, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States, pursuant to my powers under Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the Constitution, have granted unto Robert Hunter Biden a full and unconditional pardon for those offenses against the United States which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024, including but not limited to all offenses charged or prosecuting, including any that have resulted in convictions by special counsel David Weiss, et cetera, et cetera. Look at that date there, January 1st, 2024.
I mean, do you not think this is odd? I mean, where do you come up with this date? You came up with this date because, as she's fixing so eloquently put it here just a second, that's when Hunter started working supposedly for Burisma in Ukraine, his illegal activity.
Gun incident that Joe Biden begins his pardon by discussing, that he filled out a form wrong, but it's rarely prosecuted when it's not accompanied by violence or a repeat offense. That happened in 2018. That gun incident happened in 2018. So why issue Hunter Biden a pardon from January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024? Well, the reason why is because Hunter Biden joined the board of Burisma in the spring of 2014. Isn't that a coincidence? Isn't that neat? As someone on X said yesterday, that Joe Biden knew exactly the date that Hunter Biden's criminal activity began. January 1st, 2014. Hunter Biden is absolutely cleared. This is why, by the way, a few months ago when Hunter Biden was convicted of those gun charges and conservatives on X were celebrating this as some kind of justice served, I said, listen, it's good, I suppose, that Hunter Biden was convicted, but really we shouldn't be celebrating this because the gun charges and the tax delinquency charges against Hunter Biden were actually a shield that was being used by the Department of Justice to distract from the fact that they were not charging Hunter Biden with what he ought to be charged with, which is selling access to his father, Vice President of the United States, who went on to become President of the United States, to foreign leaders, foreign nations, foreign adversaries, even hostile countries to the United States. Hunter Biden was Joe Biden's bagman. Joe Biden, for the past, 50 years that he's been in the public eye, that he's been an elected official in the United States, has been corrupt. He's been running the Biden family crime syndicate. And Hunter Biden, his poor, addicted son, who never stood a chance, was being sent to hostile foreign leaders, countries that didn't like the United States, but were paying for access to Joe Biden. He was sent to collect the money. If you are a loving father, if you are a compassionate father, remember the definition of love is to will the best for that person. If Joe Biden actually willed the best for Hunter Biden, he wouldn't have used him as a bagman in this scheme. He would have actually tended to his addiction problems and the root cause of that addiction and not put him in the public eye, not made him the thing of headlines because he was the front man for the Biden family crime syndicate. It's despicable. That is the real reason Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden. And by the way, I'm surprised that anyone ever believed Joe Biden when Joe Biden said that he would not issue a pardon for Hunter. There are Democrats and liberals on X, even some conservatives, who are saying Joe Biden is a hypocrite. He said no one was above the law, and then he went on to pardon Hunter Biden, even though he promised that he wouldn't. Really? You guys believed that? What would make you believe that? To me, it was very obvious that that was a lie all along. I think a lot of you will agree that that was obviously a falsehood because Joe Biden had to pardon Hunter Biden. The surprise is maybe that it happened on December 1st versus January 20th, but it's really only because Hunter Biden had a sentencing coming up in the next couple of weeks, and Joe Biden wanted to avoid that. But I think we can expect that there will be additional pardons coming from the office of President Joe Biden before January 20th related to the Biden family crime syndicate. Also worth noting today that President Trump during his first term got impeached for asking, why did Joe Biden pardon Hunter? Remember when he was on the phone with Zelensky, president of Ukraine, in that infamous phone call, which led the House of Representatives of the United States Congress to impeach Trump. The reason for that is just that Trump asked about Joe Biden's activities in Ukraine. Well, it turns out Joe Biden believed that Hunter Biden was a criminal too. He knew that Hunter Biden's board of Burisma seat, this young man with addiction issues who did not have a speck of experience in the energy industry. Why would he be a board member? Because he was selling access to Joe Biden. The big guy issued this pardon, not because he's a loving father, not because he's compassionate of his son's addiction. The big guy issued a pardon to Hunter Biden because he's scared of Kash Patel. That is the reason for the Hunter Biden pardon. We're going to go into all of this and more. We're going to bring in Mike Benz to talk about Hunter's shady activities. Mike, good.
Okay. All right. So again, look, first of all, this is not about Hunter. This is about Joe. Okay. And, this guy can't remember anything, but yet he can remember exactly the day that he wants to start. This is 11 years. Did you hear what he said? 11 years. It's not like he said, hey, this concerns the gun charge. This concerns the tax charge. No, he said that he just made those excuses in there. Okay. No, this is about, it goes all the way back to 2014. 11 years to the end of 24 here. 10 years and 11 months. And if it so happened found out that Hunter did anything under the table or not good, then he is pardoned for anything y'all can come up with. Okay. You see, let me just tell you something. Basically, he showed his family is guilty as sin. That's what he just did. Okay. And, well, first of all, a couple of things. Number one, I'm still a firm believer that Joe Biden is not the legitimate president of the United States, and therefore all of this will be thrown out. Okay. But let's say it doesn't. Let's say Trump goes along and keeps playing the game. And, here's the other thing. But you got to understand, he's not out of the woods. In fact, he's messed up big time. This moron has really messed up now because he's opened his family up to all kinds of problems. Let me show you what it was. This was Alan Dershowitz said this today. I'm gonna put this up here where let's see here. Okay, let me pull it up. Okay. Bombshell hidden detail in Biden's Hunter pardon that means it could backfire and spark a catastrophe for the entire family. President Joe Biden's extraordinary broad portion of his pardon of his son may have saved Hunter from a prison sentence, but it might actually mark the beginning of worse legal troubles for the Biden clan. By preemptively shielding Hunter from the consequences of an allegedly criminal conduct dating back 11 years, the president leaves his son open to virtually unlimited questioning in future congressional, civil, or even criminal investigations. Okay, make it a little bit bigger, maybe you see it here. That's because Hunter can no longer claim the privilege of the Fifth Amendment. Okay, a constitutional right that protects people from offering testimony that may incriminate them. He can't plead the Fifth. Okay, since Hunter is now effectively immune from federal prosecution, he cannot plausibly claim that testimony could constitute self-incrimination. That makes Hunter a potential key witness for years to come. Biden's blanket pardon is, in fact, a gift to President-elect Donald Trump's Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi, should she ever choose to look into allegations that the Biden family has corruptedly profited off of foreign influence peddling for decades. One Republican-led House committee has estimated that the Bidens and their business associates have raked in more than $27 million in overseas business deals in recent years. However, not a single Biden family member has ever registered as a foreign agent as may be required by law. That seems like fertile ground for investigation. It's true that prosecutions of those, and again, this is Alan Dershowitz, a big name in legal circles in America. It's true that prosecutions of those who fail to report their work for foreign governments have been rare, but that's changed in recent years. In July, Senator Bob Menendez was convicted of, for many other charges, failing to declare himself as a foreign agent for Egypt. And on the first day of the new administration, Bondi, a former Florida AG, will be free to convene a grand jury and start her investigations. Indeed, investigators likely have many questions for a political family that has become fabulously rich, operating in close proximity to power. Hunter may be asked what Biden knew about the son's foreign business dealings while he was reportedly hitching rides on Air Force Two, while Joe was serving as Barack's vice president. Hunter allegedly accompanied his dad at least 13 times on trips to China, Egypt, Mexico, and South Korea while Biden was VP. Okay. Another topic of interest may be what Biden said when he attended dinners and joined phone calls with Hunter's business associates during that time. Or what Hunter meant when he wrote in an email to his sister, Ashley Biden, that Pop takes half his salary. Perhaps most critically, Bondi may probe the true identity of the infamous big guy, so characterizing the ownership documents for Oneida Holdings, a now dissolved firm owned by Hunter, his ex-business associate Tony Bobulinski, and others. Okay. So anyway, you can see, while this pardon immunizes Hunter, he says, from federal prosecution, it does not protect him from civil, including possible fraud charges. Now, it goes on to say down here, okay, that basically Hunter will face it. Okay, if Hunter is subpoenaed by Congress to testify against family members, that opens up a can of legal worms. Hunter will face several options, few of which are particularly appealing. First, his lawyers may concoct an argument that he is still due his Fifth Amendment because the president's pardon only protects him from federal charges, leaving him vulnerable to potential state charges, which therefore makes him capable of self-incrimination. But he says that's a weak argument. The statutes of limitation on any state tax and gun charges tied to the federal charges he was convicted on this year are bound to have expired. We also know the judge threw out the gun thing. Okay, secondly, Hunter could defy the subpoena, though I wouldn't recommend that course of action. Former Trump White House Chief of Staff strategist Steve Bannon just completed a 4-month sentence for refusing to appear before a congressional committee investigating January 6th. Thirdly, Hunter could agree to testify and then lie. Of course, this is the least likely scenario, and I have no reason to believe that Hunter has anything to lie about. But hypothetically, at least, that too would be a bad choice. Former Trump fixer Michael Cohen found out the hard way when he was sentenced to 2 months in prison for committing perjury in his 2017 Senate testimony regarding Trump's dealings in Russia. Finally, Hunter could tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The consequences of that are still unclear. Post-presidency outcome for the Biden family is fraught, to say the least. But the tragedy of it all is that this conundrum could have been avoided if President Biden had waited until Hunter was sentenced for his tax offenses this month and then commuted that punishment. A commuted rather than pardoned defendant retains the right to plead the fifth. But one thing is certain, Hunter Biden's problems, and seemingly those of his family, may be far from over. And Joe screwed up big time with this. I'm telling you, Trump, they have it all, and they will be prosecuting. I mean, Kash Patel said the first thing he's going to do is shut the FBI, building down, basically. So, I mean, and he's going to come after them, and they know that. In fact, I read earlier on X somewhere that Biden, that there's already talk that he also may be trying to pardon Liz Cheney, Anthony Fauci, and a bunch of other people. Okay. Again, number one, you can't pardon somebody when you're not the real president. Okay. That's number one. Number two, if Trump allows that to play out and keep playing that game, then I promise you he's got a plan B in place. I promise you. They hadn't outsmarted Trump. Okay. I can guarantee you that. So anyway, I thought that was that's pretty interesting. I tell you what, too, Now here's something else, man. I don't know what's going on, you guys, with man, there's some crazy stuff going on within the truther community. And like everybody is turning on everybody else. And I mean, it's just a big crap show. And look, that's why I've always avoided that stuff. I mean, it's just crazy. And there's people, you know, I mean, I've seen where people are being pulled into stuff that, you know, I don't know. I saw something the other day. It said something about China or somebody had paid a bunch of people or something. And I'm like, well, they didn't get my address because they didn't send me nothing. But, you know, I mean, it's just crazy. And all these people are accusing other people of doing this and that. And I won't get into all the names, but I mean, it's nuts on X right now. And I mean, some of these people are friends of mine. I mean, I'm just like, which reminds me, I need to make a phone call to someone tonight when I get done here, if I can, because there's some crazy stuff going on amongst some people. And some people are really touting what other people are saying. And it's real murky. I'm not sure what's going on with all these people. That's why, again, I try to stay out of all the business. I just mind my own business, do my thing. Okay. And so I'm not getting in all that mess. Okay. That's a way to get, yeah. So anyhow, okay, let me show you this. This came up, and it's a little off the subject here, but I saw it today and I thought, man, this is